All right, it is my great pleasure to introduce Jessika Griffin. She is the regional organizer for the Mid-East region, which includes the great state of Ohio, and in addition to Michigan and Kentucky, Indiana and Illinois. So if you are, I think you have some fans here in the audience, Jessika, it sounds like. She graduated from Indiana University, Bloomington, where she was involved with the Secular Student Alliance there for several years. When she joined the Secular Student Alliance staff, she had the pleasure of joining it at the time that both Jesse Galiff and Jessica Kirshner were there. So her being another Jessica, she had all sorts of not unfortunate, just sort of like creative other names that we applied. And the other day at a meeting, she had this epiphany that Jessica Kirshner and Jesse Galiff had both moved on, and she could now go by any form of Jessica that she so felt. So it was a very exciting and momentous occasion. And please join me in welcoming Jessika Griffin.
I'm still kind of partial to Jessica. I don't know. It works out well. Okay, so I'm Jessika Griffin. You can tweet at me at SSA Jessica. So I'm the regional campus organizer, like he said. And before we go, I know a couple of you, but who of you are like totally, completely new to all the things? Okay, cool. That's basically half. So we'll just get into it. Okay, so I'm not going to read this big list to you, but you can tell that we have a ton of services and resources that we offer, and there are some URLs on the side that are really important to know, and there will be others throughout the presentation. And save your questions to the end. I think I practiced this in such a manner that we'll have plenty of time for questions. So some of you are familiar with this process, some of you may not have started a group yet. With group starting, groups or individuals who don't know anybody else at their school who's secular can request a group starting packet that gets you a group running guide, which I'll talk about later, flyers, brochures, email and web forward, also we'll talk about that later, one-on-one assistance from the campus organizing staff, and particularly for high schoolers, legal help. That can come up a lot. So some of you probably already requested these, but if you know someone who is looking to start a group, you can refer to them to secularstudents.org/GSP and get started with that. We also have the campus organizing team, which is the coolest part. You can email, if you're in a region, you can email your regional person or organizer at secularstudents.org, and we will just help. It's our job. Like, you can just email us and we will at least help you from like 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And you can learn more about us at secularstudents.org/CO team. And if you're not sure if you're in a region, definitely go to this URL here to find your contact person. So that's me in the yellow on that map. Kara's down here in the southeast. Gordon's covering South Central, and Dan is over on the southwest. And this is our dream goal. Eventually we will begin world domination and have the whole United States, and it'll be fantastic and wonderful. But just not yet. So we have the group running guide. How many of you have a group running guide from us? That's because you started a GSP process, I know. So you can go to secularstudents.org/GRG, we call it the GERG, and request a physical copy or just look at the PDF. And give feedback, because we have interns updating it every other year, and actually someone's updating it right now, so the one that is there right now will go away at the end of the summer, I guess. It's 85 pages of general group running advice. It's a great way to document knowledge. If there's something in there that says, oh, you should reserve rooms for your meetings, you can specifically note some information that's specific for your university, like what building you need to go to reserve the rooms and whatnot. We have the group running library, and the best way to describe this is that it's everything. If you just have questions, go to that URL and you will probably find your answer deep down in the depths of our website. And it's always updated. If you find something on there that didn't work for you, let us know, and we can maybe look into seeing if it didn't work for other groups, or maybe if you tried something different and it worked really well for you, we can update it so that other students have that information. Oh, and bookmark. If you find something interesting, bookmark it or save the URL or something so that you can easily find it and pass it on to other officers if you think it will be useful for them. How many of you use the email or web forwards? Anyone? Okay, so this is a really useful resource, especially for the longevity of your group, which is really, 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 really important. So you can have your school, whatever it is, at secularstudents.org, which will forward to whatever email addresses you want. So maybe you have a Gmail account for your group, and maybe your president and secretary or something. And then that way, if you lose the information to your Gmail account, you don't have people emailing it eternally, and you never see any of those emails, which is awful. So anytime you have transitions, you can just let us know and we'll change the forward. Same for secularstudents.org/yourschool. You can either have it forward to your own website, or you can we can just list the links to all your web presences and some information about your group. It's unchanging contact points, it's professional, you have better search engine optimization, because if your group just goes by some random name, people may not be able to find it as easily if they type Secular Student Alliance at whatever university. And there's information on those at those URLs. Media relations, also another really cool resource. We have the secularstudents.org/media relations, where you can find a really in-depth press release resource, which is really important if you have some sort of cool event on campus you want to let your student newspaper know, and local media probably. So that will help you write that. And then we also have our communications associate, Kelly, who's really excited about everything that has to do with communication. So if you have a press release and you're not sure if it's good, you can just email it to her. If you want to write letters to the editor, you can find information on the website. And if you do email Kelly, just check her name that you spell it correctly so that she gets it. We have branding. Some of you may have gone to Gordon's branding talk. I think he gave a branding talk. We have the logo, which has personalization options, so you can do it in your school colors, or maybe incorporate, your mascot or something in some way. We have the materials with the logo: banners, brochures, pens, buttons, the web graphics, and again, the better search engine optimization if your group goes by the Secular Student Alliance name. But you don't have to use it. It's not a requirement. If you are working on your own branding for your group, that's different. There is information on secularstudents.org/branding to help you get that slick. And if you do your own branding, send us the files so that in a couple years, if someone has no idea what they're doing and they lost all the files, we can still help keep that going. The Project Grants and Funding Finder. Who knew that you could get cash from us? Well, not cash, checks from us. Okay, a couple of you, good. So you can get money for speaker events, traveling to SSA Con. Some of you may be getting a check on Sunday to reimburse you for coming here. Multi-speaker events, that's like if you're having a small day conference. And specific projects, so maybe you want to buy a lot of chalk and A-frame boards so that you can do some sort of promotional campaign on campus. We would love to give you money for that if you come up with a good plan. So you can apply for those at secularstudents.org/grants. And if you just have no idea what you want, what kind of funding you should apply for, there's the funding finder, which will walk you through it. And the most important part of this is that you have to have a group bank account for us to give you money, unless it's an individual grant. But if you want money for your group, we can't write the check to Joe Smith. It needs to be to Secular Student Alliance at whatever university. So if you don't know how to set up a bank account, check out that last URL there. We have the Speakers Bureau. This is one of the most popular resources, and a lot of the speakers you've seen here this weekend and we'll see are on the Speakers Bureau. So if you want to bring them to your campus, that's totally possible. Some of them are available to go anywhere in the country. Some are available just by region. We cover their travel and lodging costs, and sometimes some promotional costs if you have those. We don't cover their speaking fees or honorariums, so look out for that and be prepared that you need to actually pay your speaker if you bring a speaker with an honorarium. All of them are listed at secularstudents.org/speakers, as well as other info you need, like a checklist, which you need to follow. If you've never planned a speaker event before, definitely follow the checklist item by item. You can email Nick, who handles a lot of this stuff, or your regional campus organizer. And like I emphasize here, please look at the checklist so that you get everything covered, especially for your first event, and you can ask us questions along the whole way. We have business cards, which are probably one of the most underutilized resource. I think that they're great because you can carry business cards in your wallet, and if you overhear people talking about something that makes it sound like they might be interested in your group, you just can just give them one and walk away like I do, like an awkward penguin, and just hope they don't think it's weird. You can fill in your group's info into our design, which look like the business cards we have, or if you have your own design, we can upload it and then print them out that way. So it's a nice professional presence, and at /business cards is where you can order those. And now I have the most popular, hands down most popular resource is tabling supplies. You probably received some if you did a group starting packet, some of the brochures and pens and whatnot. You can order a box of it every semester, so you're always stocked up, and you can select if you want some other more specific items. If you're a branded group, the vinyl banner is free, at least your first one, and if you're not branded, I think it's $25. So you can look at secularstudents.org/tabling supplies. Also, if you've never tabled before, and even if you have tabled before, there's probably something you're doing wrong. So go to secularstudents.org/tabling, and you will find everything you need to make sure that you're doing a good job of it. Okay, so there are Facebook leader space and regional groups. How many of you are in a Facebook group that is not for your university, but the actual SSA one? Are you in it? Okay, so facebook.com/groups/SSA.leaderspace, that's the general one. You can connect with leaders all over the country and experienced alumni, so you can just post a question in there and people will answer. And then there are regional ones, so a couple of you are in my region's Facebook group. There's one for the Southeast, South Central, and Southwest, so make sure you get in those so you can ask questions and stay connected that way. And if you're not on Facebook and you're in a region, let your regional coordinator know so that we can be sure you still get information. We have the Design Exchange, which has been recently revamped. You can, if you just don't even know how to make flyers, this is a perfect resource for you because you can just download one and then edit it with your group's information and you're ready to go. You can also upload designs, send them in. So if you are good at making flyers or handouts or anything else, please contribute and then you can help out your fellow secular students. The URL is over there for that. And then now's my favorite. The activity packets. I recently sorted all of these into our focus areas, which are community, advocacy, service, and education, so I'm really excited about it. If you're just kind of like, what do I do with my group? This is a perfect resource for you. It's so, like I said, it's sorted by the focus areas, and there's a few other categories. There are ideas, but it also does a walkthrough, so you have some idea of what you should be doing. So that's secularstudents.org/activity packets. There's a discussion packet, which is really useful if you have like weekly discussion meetings and you find yourself getting kind of bored with them. Definitely go there. There are really in-depth discussion guides, but there are also just simple ideas with a couple resources to YouTube or whatnot. And definitely check out the focus areas, especially if you're new, so that you get an idea. If you're only having discussion meetings, you're not reaching the people who are interested in having discussions, and then you should have service events too and educational things and whatnot. The last one is the YouTube channel. All of the videos from this conference will be up there in a couple months. Videos from past conferences and affiliate events and Secular Startup with Gordon and Kelly. If you don't watch that, you really should because they're hilarious. And just other video resources that we've made. I suggest for just general leadership purposes on your group account making a playlist of all the most useful videos from the account, and that way you can just pass the link on to other leaders and they can watch the videos you think are important. And so youtube.com/secularstudents. So that's not all the resources. I'm sure there's more that I missed, but did anybody have questions about any of them? Wow, awesome. I'll take that as me explaining them well. So make sure before the school year starts that you order the tabling supplies. Yeah?
It may not necessarily be a question directly related to the information you presented.
That's okay.
In David Chervis's breakout session, he was talking about getting a feel of what your group is about and what they'd like to do, whether they'd like to be primarily service-focused or discussion-focused or activist-focused or social-focused. Mm-hmm. How do you, I'm trying to phrase this correctly. How do you make it so that, yes, you're catering to the people who are in your group, but you're also making it more accessible to everybody else?
Yeah, so the question is about balancing out the focus areas. So we have this graph that is hard to explain about how you can sort of choose two of those focus areas that are the main ones. So say community, like the social aspect, and the service aspect. You still might have discussions sprinkled about, and you still might have things like Ask an Atheist Day, that's an advocacy event, but focusing on it. So I think it might come down to just coming up with maybe a year plan of this is what we're going to do and focus on this year. And if people want other events and we happen to plan other events, it's fine, but we'll focus on two so that you can still have a focus for your group for what the people who are in the group, because it's the people who come to meetings who matter, but you also can't forget about the people who don't come to meetings because there's probably a reason that they don't. So yeah, I would suggest choosing two of those focus areas to really hammer in the whole year, but not forget about the other ones. Yeah.
Follow up. I remembered the original direction this question was going to go. When you're in our situation at Eastern Illinois University, we are basically rebuilding our group,
right?
And essentially from the ground up. How do we maintain the focus while bringing in and retaining members? Not alienating people who don't necessarily want to work at a soup kitchen or rabble-rouse in the quad.
That's a great question. I don't know if there's a great answer, because I think it would depend a little bit on who you manage to bring in as you're rebuilding. If you end up with a bunch of people who are mainly interested in having group discussions and not having service events, it's okay to focus on them for a little bit, because you need a membership base to actually be able to do anything on campus. Yeah, so that's a little tough. Working with other organizations definitely helps, because there's probably a non-religious person in almost every organization on campus. So if you do a service event with maybe an interfaith group, that will sort of widen the doors, and you'll have people at the event, and you don't have to worry about it, only being your members. So working with other student organizations will be really key for that. Or off-campus groups. There might be a group on meetup.com or something near your area, and then you can also, if you want to have a service aspect but nobody in your group is interested in that, you still have or only a few people. Yeah, still providing the outlet.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I am taking over next semester for my organization as president, and I don't know that my former president actually has that starting pack. Would I still be able to go?
Yeah, you can order one. That's totally fine. Also, yeah, it happens a lot where someone maybe graduates and doesn't leave behind lots of things. So to prevent that from happening again, make sure you mark up in it and pass it on, maybe with a letter to the next president telling them nice, warm, fuzzy things or something. Anything else? Yay! Okay, well, yay, thanks.